Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the noise and give you the essential insights you need fast. Today, we're tackling something I think, well, almost every English learner has run into, or really anyone trying to use English in the real world. You know that feeling, right? You're in class, the teacher's speaking super clearly, maybe a bit slowly even, and you get it, every word. You're nodding along, thinking, yeah, I've got this. Then you step outside, you try to follow a conversation between native speakers talking fast, or you switch on a movie, no subtitles, maybe just a podcast, and bam, it's like hitting a wall, the words just blur together, accents are flying around, and all that confidence, gone. You feel totally lost. It's such a common thing, almost universal, really. So if you felt that, I just want to say you are absolutely not alone in it. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to do a real deep dive into, well, the art of mastering English listening. It can be frustrating, I know, but it's so rewarding when it clicks. We've pulled together the key stuff, the really actionable bits from our source, Mastering English Listening, 10 practical steps. The idea is to give you more than just tips like a genuine shortcut, a roadmap to really getting better at understanding spoken English. We're not just going to list things off. We want to dig into why these methods work, neurologically, cognitively, and how you can actually weave them into your life without it feeling like a huge chore, maybe even make it kind of fun. So over the next bit, we're going to explore 10 really powerful ways, backed by how language learning actually works, to train your brain, train it to get used to the rhythm, the intonation, all those little nuances of English speech that can trip you up. We'll start with the basics, the habits you need to build, then move into more active techniques, and finally, touch on the mindset shifts that are, honestly, just as important.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how these steps, which might seem pretty simple on the surface, actually build on each other. They create this really comprehensive strategy for genuine mastery. It's not like there's one single magic trick, one thing that fixes everything instantly. It's much more about seeing how these different approaches connect, building a whole system, really. And that system turns listening from something passive and maybe overwhelming into something really active, engaging, and, believe it or not, pretty intuitive after a while. So yeah, get comfortable, maybe grab a coffee, and let's explore how you can make English listening feel less like a test and more like, just listening. Enjoyable, even.
Aye.
The foundation, cultivating consistent immersion for brain adaptation.
All right, so where do we start? If listening feels like this huge mountain to climb, what's the very first step? Our source is super clear on this. The foundation, the absolute bedrock, is consistent daily exposure. Think about it like exercise, not studying. Like physical training. You wouldn't go to the gym once, have a massive workout, and expect to run a marathon the next day, would you?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Your muscles would just scream at you.
Exactly. The brain's kind of similar in that way. It needs consistent effort, not just occasional bursts. The source recommends at least 10 to 15 minutes every single day. Now, 10 to 15 minutes, it might sound like almost nothing, right? Barely worth it.
It sounds small, but that consistency is incredibly powerful. It's the everyday part that really counts.
Okay, so let's dig into that exercise analogy a bit more. What's actually happening in our heads during those 10-15 minutes? What mental muscles are we building? It's not just about learning new words, is it?
Not at all. It's much deeper than that. You're training your brain to do a whole bunch of things simultaneously, like predicting what might come next based on the context, or recognizing grammar patterns without even thinking about rules, and getting attuned to the rhythm, the stress, the intonation, the music of English, really.
The music. I like that.
Yeah, and crucially, differentiating between sounds that might sound really similar, especially when they're flying past in fast speech. It's about developing this sort of auditory intuition.
Right, so that little daily dose keeps everything ticking over. It prevents you from getting rusty between, say, bigger study sessions.
Exactly. It's about rewiring, slowly but surely, making those auditory processing pathways in your brain more efficient, more automatic. From a neurological standpoint, that consistency is key for what we call brain adaptation or neuroplasticity. Our brains can literally change and reorganize themselves based on experience.
Wow. So listening actually changes your brain structure.
Absolutely. Consistent exposure encourages the growth of new connections, especially in areas linked to memory and auditory processing. Your auditory cortex gets better at telling sounds apart, especially English sounds that might not exist in your native language. It's like fine-tuning an instrument.
Okay. So at first it feels hard because those pathways are new, like hiking trails that haven't been used much.
Precisely. And each 10-15 minute session is like walking that trail again, smoothing it out, making it wider, faster. more efficient.
That makes sense. And the source mentions using different kinds of content, podcasts, music, short videos. Why is that variety important?
Because English isn't just one sound, right? Different people, different contexts, different accents. Listening to varied sources challenges your brain to be more flexible. It stops it getting lazy or too accustomed to just one style of speech.
Right, so you don't just get good at understanding, say, your one favorite podcast host.
Exactly. You want broader adaptability. And the great thing is, fitting it in is usually pretty easy. Like you said, commute time, coffee break, walking the dog, doing chores.
Yeah, finding those little pockets of time.
It makes it a really low barrier habit to start. But the impact over time is huge. It builds that crucial foundation for you.
Okay, so building on that idea of daily exposure, the source really highlights audio-first content. Things like podcasts and audiobooks. It says they're great because the language is often natural but clear. What's the significance of that? Why audio first specifically?
Well, think about it. Podcasts, audiobooks, they're designed purely for listening, right? There are no visual crutches, no actors' expressions to help you guess meaning, no captions, no scenery providing context.
Ah, I see. So your ears have to do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. It forces your brain to rely solely on the auditory input. It's a focused workout for your listening skills.
Which is different from watching a movie, say, where you get lots of visual clues.
Right. Movies and TV are useful too, we'll get to that. But audio-first content provides this pure kind of undiluted listening challenge. It really sharpens your ability to pick out sounds, follow the speed, and get meaning just from hearing.
Makes sense. It's like training in a more challenging condition to make the real thing feel easier?
Kind of, yeah. And the source makes another really smart suggestion here, starting simple with audiobooks, like children's stories.
Children's stories.
Absolutely. It's about graduated difficulty. That's a core principle in learning anything, language included. Children's books usually have simpler words, clearer pronunciation, straightforward sentences.
Okay, so it's less overwhelming. You get some early wins.
Precisely. It builds confidence. If you jump straight into, I don't know, a complex philosophical audiobook and understand nothing.
We'll probably just give up.
Exactly. Starting simple, make sure you feel like you're making progress, which keeps you motivated. Then you gradually increase the difficulty.
So start with Winnie the Pooh, then maybe move up to something a bit more complex later on.
Something like that. And connecting this back to daily routines, listening while walking, cooking, commuting, that taps into the power of passive learning too.
Passive learning? You mean even if I'm not 100% focused?
Yeah. Even if it's just background noise sometimes, your subconscious is still picking things up. It's getting used to the rhythm, the common phrases, the flow. Like your brain is constantly scanning for patterns.
Huh. So even if I'm chopping onions and only half listening to that podcast, it's still doing something.
It absolutely is. It builds familiarity. It makes the language sound less foreign over time. So when you do focus actively, it's easier because your brain already has this background database of sounds and patterns.
Wow. Okay, so you're turning that dead time into learning time almost effortlessly.
That's the idea, empowering you to make learning a seamless part of your day. 2. Strategic engagement. Active techniques for deeper comprehension.
Okay, so we've got the foundation. Consistent daily listening, maybe starting with audio-first content. But how do we get more strategic, more active about it? Our source talks about using visual media, like movies and TV shows, but in a specific way. Gradual independence, it calls it.
Ah, yes, the subtitle strategy. It's a good one.
Right, so the idea is you start by watching with English subtitles, and this isn't cheating, right? It's a tool.
Definitely a tool, a very effective one, because you're seeing the word and hearing it at the exact same time.
So your brain makes that connection between the spelling, the visual form, and the sound, the phonology.
Exactly. It's multisensory learning. You're linking the visual cortex processing the text with the temporal lobe processing the sound, building stronger pathways.
Okay, that makes sense. It gives your brain two ways to grab onto the word.
Precisely. It solidifies recognition. Seeing the word can help clarify sounds you might otherwise mishear.
And then, the scary part.
Then you take the leap. Once you feel a bit comfortable, you try watching without the subtitles.
Maybe the same scene or episode again.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So you already have some context. It forces your brain to rely purely on the audio this time.
And the source mentions shows like Friends or The Office.
Yeah.
Why those kinds of shows?
Because they're full of natural conversational English, the kind people actually use day to day.
Ah, right. Not like super formal documentary narration.
Exactly. You get contractions, gonna wanna.
Yeah.
You get idioms, slang, interruptions, people talking over each other a bit. real-life stuff.
And the pace is more realistic too, probably.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
It's invaluable exposure to authentic speech patterns. I remember trying to watch a fast British comedy.
Oh, yeah. Tough.
Incredibly tough, even with subtitles. But watching it with them first, getting the rhythm, then switching them off, it suddenly clicked. Much better, anyway.
So it gives you a clear path. Subtitles as a learning tool, then gradually move towards independence.
Absolutely. It's about building confidence and training your ear progressively.
That focus on authentic speech in shows like The Office is really key, isn't it? Because real life isn't a textbook.
Not even close. So much of communication relies on that informal, idiomatic language, the speed, the rhythm. If you only ever practice with slow, careful, grammatically perfect textbook audio, you'll struggle in real conversations.
Right. You need exposure to the messy reality of it.
Exactly. And weaning yourself off subtitles trains your brain to handle that messiness, to rely more on sound, to predict, to infer. It builds resilience for those real-time listening situations. It's moving from just decoding words to understanding the actual flow and intention.
From conscious effort to something more instinctive.
That's the goal, towards that implicit automatic understanding that marks real fluency. So yeah, use subtitles, but use them strategically, always aiming for that eventual independence.
Okay, next technique. This one sounds really active, maybe even a bit weird at first, but apparently very powerful. Shadowing.
Shadowing, yes, it's fantastic. A bit unusual maybe, but incredibly effective.
So how does it work exactly? The source says pick a short clip, like 30 seconds.
Yeah, short is good to start. You listen carefully first.
Right.
Really listen.
Okay.
Then you pause it.
Yeah.
And you immediately try to repeat what you just heard. But, and this is key, you copy everything.
Everything, not just the words.
Everything. The pronunciation, obviously, but also the rhythm, the intonation, the pauses, the stress patterns, even the emotion or tone, if you can.
Wow. So you're basically trying to become a mimic, like an actor copying someone.
That's a great way to put it. You're aiming for high-fidelity mimicry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that so much better than just, say, repeating the words from a transcript? What's the magic there?
Because it engages so much more of your brain. Passive listening is mainly auditory processing. Shadowing brings in motor control for speech.
Right, your mouth and tongue moving.
Exactly. Plus, heightened auditory discrimination, because you're constantly comparing the original sound to your own attempt.
Like instant feedback.
Yes. And it challenges your short-term memory to hold and replicate those complex speech patterns. It's a full cognitive workout. It moves you beyond what was said to how it was said, building almost a physical muscular memory for the sounds and rhythms.
Huh. Muscular memory for language. Interesting.
It really helps internalize the feel of the language. The source says it makes you feel like you're speaking with them.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that feeling of active participation, that immersion, is psychologically very powerful too.
So it's not just about listening better, shadowing actually helps your speaking too.
Massively. It's probably one of the best ways to improve pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm, making you sound more natural, because you're not just learning abstract rules about sounds, you're physically practicing them, guided by a native model.
So your brain is actively analyzing the sounds in much more detail than when you're just listening.
Absolutely. You become much more aware of subtle vowel differences, how consonants link together, the rise and fall of sentences, things you just wouldn't notice otherwise.
And that feeling like you're speaking with them part, that sensory motor loop you mentioned.
Yeah, the feedback from your mouth and ears to your brain allows for incredibly rapid self-correction. Your brain hears the target, feels your attempt, hears your attempt, and instantly calibrates. It's like real-time fine-tuning.
Wow, okay.
And beyond sounds, it helps internalize grammar and sentence structure naturally. You start to feel what sounds right rather than just knowing the rule.
So it bridges listening and speaking very directly.
Exactly. It transforms passive input into active dynamic language development, a really powerful tool for you to try.
All right, 2 more active strategies here, and they kind of go hand in hand, using technology and a bit of discipline. First, the simple but maybe underused power of pause, rewind, and listen again.
The gift of digital media.
Yeah.
So simple, so effective.
Right. The source points out you can control it. If you miss something, a word, a phrase, just stop, go back, listen again.
And listen again maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it says each time you'll catch something new, which feels true, doesn't it?
It really does. The first time, maybe you get the gist. The second, you pick up a few more words. The third, you might finally hear that tricky contraction or understand the intonation.
It's like peeling an onion, layer by layer.
Good analogy. And you can do it without pressure, without feeling embarrassed like you might in a live conversation. It's just you and the recording.
Okay, and then paired with that is taking notes while listening.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial for making it active.
The source says, write down new words or phrases. Later, try to use them. This way, listening becomes active learning.
Yes. It signals to your brain, this bit is important, remember this.
It's not just letting the sound wash over you. You're hunting for things.
You're engaging consciously, making decisions about what's new, what's useful. The physical act of writing it down helps solidify it.
So these two together, rewind and replay, plus note-taking, they really shift you from passive consumption to active study.
Totally. They are fundamental for deep processing. Rewinding gives your brain the time it needs to properly analyze complex sounds, which is hard to do in real time. That repetition strengthens the neural pathways, moving information towards long-term memory. It's the difference between just hearing and actually registering.
And the note-taking, how does that help long-term?
Writing it down is the first step. But the critical part is what the source says. Trying to use those new words or phrases later.
In your own speaking or writing?
Exactly. That's called elaborative rehearsal. You're actively weaving it into your own language system. That's what makes it stick.
Otherwise, your brain just thinks, okay, heard that once, not important, and lets it go.
Pretty much. Our brains are efficient like that. So whether it's a notebook, a flashcard app, a note on your phone,
find a system that works for you.
Find a system, write it down, and make a point to use it. That's how you turn listening into lasting knowledge. 3. Navigating the realities of spoken English. Embracing diversity and imperfection.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk about the reality of English out there in the world. It's not just one thing, is it?
Not even close. It's incredibly diverse.
And our source warns against just focusing on one accent, saying you might feel lost later. That feels really important.
It's critical because English is global. You've got American, British, Australian, Indian, South African, Irish, Scottish. The list goes on and on.
Each with its own sound, its own rhythm.
Absolutely. And if you only ever train your ear on, say, standard American news anchors,
you might struggle when you meet someone from Sydney or Glasgow.
Precisely. In the real world, travel, business, online, media, you'll encounter a huge range of accents. Being prepared for that diversity is key for versatile comprehension.
So how do we prepare? The source suggests mixing it up: YouTube, interviews, travel vlogs from different places.
Great advice. Actively seek out variety. Listen to a TED Talk by someone with an Indian accent one day, watch an Australian cooking show the next, listen to a podcast from Ireland.
Intentionally exposing yourself to different phonetic landscapes, so to speak.
Exactly. Because each accent has slight differences in vowels, consonants, stress, intonation. Your brain needs exposure to learn to adapt. If it only learns one pattern, it gets very rigid. This is that perceptual narrowing I mentioned. It struggles when it hears something different.
Right. It doesn't know how to map the new sounds onto the words it knows.
This raises an important question. How do we consciously train our ears to be flexible rather than rigid? And the answer is exactly that. Deliberate, varied exposure. Give your brain lots of different data points to learn from.
So it builds a more flexible filter.
A much more robust and adaptable filter. Think about specific people. Trevor Noah's South African accent, maybe some clips from Bollywood films for Indian English variations, Kate Blanchett for Australian, Ewan McGregor for Scottish. Explore.
Find content you enjoy, but make sure it comes from different corners of the English-speaking world.
Yes, it prepares you for real-world interactions and avoids those future communication roadblocks. Makes you a truly global listener.
And that leads perfectly into the next point, which feels like it could lift a huge weight off learners' shoulders. The idea of listening for the gist, not stressing about every single word.
Oh, this is such a liberating concept, and so true to how communication actually works.
The source says, don't panic if you don't understand everything. Focus on the overall meaning. Because native speakers don't always speak perfectly clearly, do they?
Not at all. We speak fast, we use slang, we contract words constantly. Sometimes we mumble or even skip small words because context makes them obvious.
So trying to catch every single word is unrealistic, maybe even counterproductive.
Hugely counterproductive, often. It creates immense pressure and anxiety.
Right. You're so focused on that one word you missed that you lose the thread of the whole conversation. You miss the forest for the trees.
Exactly. Your cognitive load skyrockets.
Yeah.
Trying to do this intense bottom-up processing, decoding every tiny sound, it's exhausting.
Like trying to assemble a million-piece jigsaw puzzle in real time.
Yeah. Impossible.
Yeah.
The goal shouldn't be perfect word-for-word comprehension. It should be understanding the main message, the core idea.
Train yourself to catch the main idea first.
Yes. Build the overall picture and then fill in details if you can. And importantly, be okay with not catching every single detail. Even native speakers miss things sometimes.
So how does that work? How do we focus on the gist? Is it about listening for keywords?
Keywords are definitely part of it, but it's also about leveraging context, your background knowledge, intonation. Language has a lot of built-in redundancy. Meaning is often repeated or strongly implied.
So even if you miss a word, the rest of the sentence or conversation often gives you enough clues.
Very often, yes. Native speakers do this automatically. It's called top-down processing, using the big picture to understand the small parts. You can train yourself to do this by listening for signals, like word signaling importance, key, crucial, transition words, however, so, next, or listening to the speaker's tone to gauge their feeling.
So you're distinguishing the main points from the supporting details.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Letting go of perfection can actually make you a better listener.
How so?
Because it reduces anxiety. When you're less stressed, your brain can process information more clearly, more efficiently. You're more relaxed, more open to understanding.
So accepting imperfection leads to better performance.
In this case, absolutely. It frees you from that paralyzing pressure, allowing for more relaxed, effective, and ultimately more enjoyable listening. Prioritize the big picture. 4. Sustaining momentum, community, motivation, and mindset.
Okay, we've covered a lot of techniques, but sticking with anything long-term, especially language learning, can be tough. It can feel a bit lonely sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Motivation ebbs and flows. Keeping momentum is key.
Which is why the source brings up the power of community, suggesting joining online listening practice groups.
Yes, the social aspect of learning. Hugely important.
It says these groups often watch or listen to the same thing together, then discuss it. And this helps you stay motivated and makes listening less lonely.
It makes perfect sense. Having that shared goal, that shared experience, it provides natural accountability.
You mean you're more likely to actually do the listening if you know others are doing it too?
Yeah, and if you know you're going to discuss it afterwards. But it's more than just accountability. The discussion itself is incredibly valuable. You can ask questions about parts you didn't get.
And hear how other people understood it. Maybe they caught something you missed.
Exactly. You get different perspectives, different interpretations. It deepens everyone's understanding, not just of the language, but of the content itself.
So it turns a solo struggle into a team effort.
Precisely. Collaborative learning. It tackles the isolation factor head-on and makes the process more engaging and supportive.
That sense of community sounds really beneficial. Psychologically, it must make a difference.
It really does. Mutual support, shared challenges, celebrating small wins together. It all contributes to resilience. And as you mentioned, those discussions reinforce learning from so many different angles. Someone might point out a nuance in vocabulary, another might explain a cultural reference. It's collective intelligence at work.
That's a great point. You get a much richer understanding than you might on your own.
And there's a side benefit too. In many online groups, the learners themselves might be from different countries.
Ah, so you get extra accent practice just by talking up the listening material.
Potentially, yes. You're adapting to various non-native English accents in a friendly, low-stakes environment while discussing the target material. It's multi-layered practice.
Wow. Okay, so finding a group, whether online or maybe locally, seems like a really smart move for staying motivated and deepening understanding.
Definitely worth exploring for you. It leverages that power of collective effort, making the journey less solitary and often more fun.
Which brings us to the final and maybe the most fundamental point of all: patience and perseverance.
The long game, yes, absolutely essential.
The source is very upfront about it. Listening takes time. At first, it's hard. That honesty is important, I think.
It really is, because it is hard at first for most people. It's easy to get discouraged when progress feels slow.
That feeling of putting in the work but not seeing results, it can make you want to quit.
Absolutely. That's where the mindset comes in, understanding it's a marathon, not a sprint.
And the source gives this lovely image of the reward. But slowly, your ears adjust. One day you'll suddenly realize you just understood a full movie scene without subtitles. That's progress.
That aha moment. It's real. It happens.
It's not necessarily a smooth, steady climb.
Rarely. Language acquisition often involves plateaus where you feel stuck and then sudden jumps forward.
So that breakthrough moment, understanding that movie scene, is the result of all that consistent effort finally clicking into place.
Exactly. It's the culmination of all those daily sessions, the shadowing, the note-taking. Your brain has been building the network, and suddenly it connects. It's the payoff for persistent, engaged effort.
So self-compassion is important here too. Being kind to yourself on the days it feels really tough.
Hugely important. Acknowledge the difficulty, but don't let it derail you. Celebrate the small wins. Maybe today you understood one more sentence than yesterday, or you recognized an idiom you learned last week. That is progress. Acknowledge it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, patience isn't just passive waiting. It's active persistence. It's continuing the engaged effort over time.
It's trusting the process, trusting that your brain is adapting even when it doesn't feel like it.
Precisely. You are literally building and strengthening those neural pathways with every listening session. Each repetition makes them stronger, faster.
So these 10 strategies give you the how, but the underlying why and the keep going comes down to persistence and believing in that gradual progress.
That's the core message. Stay the course, be patient with yourself, celebrate every step, and trust that those breakthrough moments will come. They really will.
Outro. Wow. We have really unpacked a lot today, haven't we? From the simple power of 10 minutes a day to actively mimicking speakers, using subtitles smartly, embracing different accents, the big takeaway from this deep dive, based on mastering English listening, 10 practical steps, seems crystal clear. Listening isn't some fixed talent. It's a skill, a trainable, adaptable skill. We've talked about that journey from feeling totally swamped by sound to actually feeling attuned, feeling confident.
It's a definite transformation that's possible.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, these aren't just random tips. They're concrete strategies, real pathways for you to build genuine confidence, to open up access to so much more information, culture connection through understanding spoken English. Like the source said, it's about training your brain to think in English. And the more you expose yourself, the easier it gets. It's neurological adaptation, it's active engagement, and it's letting go of perfection.
And maybe this raises an important question for you to think about beyond just communication. As you develop these skills, as you become a more adept listener, how might that ability to truly hear and understand a wider range of voices, accents, and perspectives, how might that actually deepen your understanding of different cultures, different ways of seeing the world that are expressed through spoken English? It's potentially much bigger than just understanding words.
Now, that's a fascinating thought. Food for thought, definitely. So maybe reflect on which of these 10 ideas felt most relevant to you right now. Which one could you maybe try implementing tomorrow?
Yeah, how can you adapt these to fit your life, your style?
Because the journey is ongoing, it's rewarding, and it's right there for you to continue. Keep listening, keep learning, keep growing.